Hey friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and my friend Ling and I are here today to talk to you about a couple books that we think are absolutely fantastic, and we think you might like them too. It might be worth giving them a shot. So, the first book I want to talk about today is called Small Favors by Erin Craig. Now, one of the really cool things about this author is that she's actually a Michigan author. So, she's from Michigan, she still lives in Michigan, which is really cool. I love reading books by Michigan authors. So, that's why I originally wanted to give this one a shot. And I also heard that it was a little bit of a slight Rumpelstiltskin retelling, which I love that fairy tale. So I thought, let me give this a shot. And I absolutely loved it. So I do just want to show you under the cover how beautiful the spine of this book is. Are you kidding me? Look at that. The gold with the black bees on it. It's fantastic. Anyway, moving on to the actual story. So this is a little bit of a slow burn psychological thriller. So it's fast paced, but it takes a while to get going, which is really good because it sets the mood, which is like very creepy and disturbing vibes. So it's set in this alternate place called Amity Falls, where Ellery lives with her family, and everything's kind of always been the same there. They live in this little community. Everybody trades, and the goods and things that they need. And Ellery's family takes care of the bees. They have honey that they make and they sell. So everything's really peaceful in this town, and then they all of a sudden there is this attack from these wild animals in the woods. Now, people don't really leave Amity Falls very often. When they do, it's to go to the other towns for supplies and things like that. But they're really kind of a secluded environment here. And that is really a big part of the story, this kind of like secluded, ominous feeling. So there's a wild animal attack in the woods, and all the elders start talking about how way back in the day, there were these terrible creatures that lived in the woods, kind of like monsters, and everybody's starting to panic that maybe they've come back. Well, there seem to be more and more attacks, but also really weird things happening. Neighbors turning on each other, arguments, a lot of fighting happening, and it seems like a lot of people in town are making deals with somebody, nobody knows who, to get their greatest desire, a lot of times which ends up with somebody else getting hurt or something happening to them, in return for a small favor. So Ellery is caught in the middle of this as her family is, her mother, there is a really bad attack, and her mother is injured, and her father takes her to leave. So it's just Ellery and her younger siblings and her twin brother in their house now, as things start to get even more foreboding and creepy. I really love this book. Like I said, it was a slow burn thriller, so don't jump into this thinking it's going to get going right from the beginning. It takes a while to pick up, but that's the beauty of this book, I think, because it gets in your head. This book is really insidious, right? And it just makes you really creeped out and just completely enveloped in this totally like weird town vibe that is going on. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. There's a twist at the end I did not see coming, which was just really cool. Really good book to give it a try. Small Favors. And like I said, it's a Michigan author, so that's really worth it right there, right? So the next book I want to talk about, I just actually finished reading a couple days ago, and I totally fell in love with it. And of course, I have to say the thing that made me first fall in love with it was this beautiful cover, Before We Disappear by Shaun David Hutchinson. Look at this cover. Isn't this gorgeous? I absolutely love it. How can you not fall in love with it? So Shaun David Hutchinson has written a lot of really great young adult books in the past. We Are the Ants is the one that's the most memorable for me. Love that book. This book is totally different. So this is actually kind of like a historical fiction book set in the early 1900s in Seattle at the Yukon, Alaska Pacific World's Exposition Fair. Whew, that's a mouthful. So basically, this is the story of two magicians, basically. So and their apprentices. So Evangeline is the star of the show in Europe, and she's got this stagehand slash apprentice named Jack, who is also kind of her thief, and he helps her get things that she needs, even if they might not be through a lawful means. He gets caught one day, so they have to flee Europe and come to America to this fair. So she believes that she can just take this world by storm if she has Jack start stealing things, and they start selling liquor illegally because it's during Prohibition. Well, they don't expect competition, and that's what they get. So there's this other magician named Laszlo, who has a stagehand slash apprentice who has a lot of secrets, whose name is William. So he has this special ability that is what is basically giving Laszlo his skit such an edge over everybody else. So Jack is definitely trying to find out what is going on with William, find out what is going on with the show, and of course these two guys meet. There is a beautiful friendship, and more is beautiful romance as well. I just absolutely love this story. It was so sweet. The relationship between William and Laszlo was like super abusive, and Jack was like helping him get out of that, and which is just so amazing and gorgeous. And there was a lot of like, dealing with abusive relationships that aren't romantic relationships, more like familial relationships, right? Because both of the boys really don't have the best lives with their caretaker slash magicians. So it's a lot about that too, finding out what you want out of your life and just going for it. But the thing I think I love the most about this book is I don't think I've ever read anything about the Alaska Pacific World Fair before, and it was really cool. I didn't know that it was actually a real thing, and it was. There's all these different like shows and acts and things that like inventors showing like inventions and all these things. It was a really a real thing that happened at the turn of the century that was super, super cool, and I had no idea that it existed. So it was really cool reading about that, because there is a lot of description in the book about that and the fair and everything like that. So that was really awesome. I love historical fiction books that take you to a place that you didn't even know about before, right? Nor know much about. So this book just totally won me over for a lot of different aspects. So highly recommend this. Before We Disappear. It's a really sweet story, very cool historical fiction tale. It's just awesome. Before We Disappear. Well, that's what we've got for you today. I hope that they sound really awesome. If so, please feel free to come and get them from Farmington Community Library, and then make sure you come in and tell me what you thought of them, because I want to know. Thanks so much, friends, and have a wonderful rest of the day.